friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. Well, yes, I really am heading out to show you my Westside herb garden, but I thought I'd stop and show you what I got going on here. And I'll be doing more videos on this later. But I did a load of laundry on my off-grid laundry setup. What I've got going on here is this is the gray water after I'm done washing, draining into my watering can that I can use to water other areas of the garden where my rainwater hose doesn't reach. So be watching for videos eventually, finally, coming out on how I use my off-grid laundry setup. Now, out to the Westside garden. Well, I'm hoping this isn't going to be too disappointing since I put it off for so long, but I finally realized that no matter what time of the year I video my garden, it's always going to be in different states of flux as I'm harvesting and different things are coming into bloom and other things are starting to die back. So I figure I may just have to do a few updates along the way. So there you can kind of see it in its entirety. So again, this is along the west side. This is this big room here is my old dance room, martial arts room where I did all my teaching, and now is just a big great room that we use for everything else, and I do my sewing in and so on. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see my apple tree. Last year, because you know it is part of this garden here, it got the first really big harvest of apples on it that we've ever seen, and the branches started were so weighed down that it bent them over, and so that's why they look like that now, and I absolutely love it, especially over here where it kind of makes this little archway. So by the looks of things, it looks like we'll do just as well this year. So it took a long time to get this tree to this point because it's been here since we got married and moved in here back in 1990, and it's really just as of last year, 2016, finally getting good fruit. All right, so yes, call me crazy, that is a potato plant. I had several seed potatoes left over and I was out of space in my regular areas for growing potatoes and the new potato patch, so I decided to stick a few in here in random places just to see how well they do, since the soil right here is very loose and fertile. And I just wanted to give it a try. So right there is one of my several catnip plants, and it doesn't have any flowers on it because I've been keeping this one pruned back. I've been trying to really get a lot of catnip, though I do want to leave a few of these to get some flowers just to add more purple, because I see very little purple out here right now. Over here we got some nasturtiums that have had self-seeded from last year, and I'm just letting them go. Down there is a grapevine that was given to me by a friend. It started out okay early in the year, early in the season, and now it's just quit. I think it must have died. Not sure what happened there, but I do have plenty of grapes, and I will be doing a deck garden review someday soon, but we'll get more on the grapes later. But that is probably my smallest marshmallow plant. I have probably about at least 15 to 20 marshmallow plants here and there all over. So that's one. You've seen some of my taller ones in my last garden update. There is one of my new thyme plants I bought this year. This is remnants of a horseradish that I pulled up and back there because I decided I wanted to try growing the horseradish out front, since the leaves get so huge that it always obscures my poor rosemary. Now, where we live in the Pacific Northwest in a very rainy climate, rosemary doesn't do super well here. It can be very tricky. Well, that one is one of the only ones that has survived over the past couple years, and I think it's because I planted it here, and since it's right next to the house and under the eaves, it stays, and I have the garden here sloped upwards, so I think it doesn't, its feet don't stay as wet or soggy as other plants. So I did plant some more rosemary back in here and some thyme, because I have the same issue with the thyme. It'll do good when I first get the start and plant it, but then it just doesn't make it through the winter. So I've had a couple that make it, but then they only seem to make it one winter and then they die the next. So all these thymes that you see, this one, and this one, are new. This one here is my favorite. And I have lemon thyme. I also have an orange spice that I'm trying this year. Orange spice thyme, and it's pretty tasty. But it's not in this garden. So this is another marshmallow. You can see I chopped off the top. I've been going through and chopping off the top of some of them so they'll bush out more. They'll get more flowers and they'll start to get more stalks coming up out of the ground. And this is my biggest sage plant that I have. It was given to me as a Mother's Day gift from my brother-in-law years ago. And it was just a little bitty start. And the reason you don't see any flowers is because, and I've never seen flowers on any of my sage because I keep it harvested way back. I'm always harvesting sage. It's one of my very favorite herbs to cook with. And I also use it in a lot of hair related stuff because it's really good for stimulating hair growth. And this is one of my feverfew plants. I just love the look of the feverfew. And we'll talk about that more in another video, in one of my medicinal herb videos coming. Here's my main peppermint plant. This is the peppermint plant that all the rest of my peppermints came from, including all this under the apple tree that I intentionally planted around here to help keep pests, ants, and aphids off the apple tree. And it seems to be doing a pretty good job. We still find a random ant here and there, but for the most part it has not been infested as bad as it used to be. So you saw my video on the woolly lamb's ear, and I'll link to that up in the corner. So go check that out. I talk a little bit about the medicinal benefits of woolly lamb's ear. And I just love the color it adds to my garden. It's just a silvery sage color. And now it's, you know, it's been starting to get its flowers. They only kind of blossoms just one little flower at a time, or a couple little flowers at a time. And while some are dying off, the rest are blooming. So it's never totally purple. But I still think it's very pretty. Now this right here is my smallest elderberry plant, which is the funny thing about this is it's supposed to be the biggest one, and you know, according to its breed. Now this is the Sambucus nigra. I'm thinking this one just is not. I'm not sure what's going on here with the leaves. I don't know if it's not getting enough water or some kind of nutrients it's missing. It's the only one that looks like this. But the exciting thing is this is the first year it has got flowers. Now, since this is the only one I have in this variety, it is necessary for this one to flower so I can get berries. Now last year my other two, my Adams, they flowered, but this one didn't, so I got wonderful flowers but no berries. So hopefully this year I'll actually get berries since they're all flowering. Alright, so my I actually harvested a bunch of lavender off of these yesterday, so they're not quite as full in flowers as they were yesterday morning. But that is because I started making my, finally was able to get started on my floral hair wash vinegar. And I'll have a video of that coming out real soon. And this is my first 2 oregano plants I ever had, and the same. This is also where I got all my other oreganos from that I have growing in various places around here. And I think one year I actually allowed my oregano to flower, but most of the time I never let it flower because I'm constantly harvesting it back to dehydrate for cooking with and stuff throughout the year. So these taller pieces I'm intentionally leaving so that I can have some go to flower because, well, it's just pretty, and I think it's probably healthier for the plant to at least get to flower once in a while. But I do notice keeping it harvested back, any of my herbs, keeps them very short and bushy, and they get broader leaves. Alright, there's that red clover, and I was hoping it would get a lot more flowers after I harvested all those back, but it's really only had a few since. I have harvested more since that video. I see a couple of buds. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully it will continue on. I don't, maybe it's, you know, this is just not the time of the year for clover to keep growing, but I would assume it would just keep putting out flowers. So I'm surprised I'm not seeing more come on that. So hopefully it will keep making more. I do see 3 young ones. That right there is my lemon balm I recently harvested a bunch off of. So it's not real full looking. But yeah, I am getting, a lot of lemon balm off of that this year, and I'm I'm pretty happy. Now this particular lavender back here is the very first lavender I ever purchased, and it is also my biggest one, and it is different from all the rest because it not only blooms later, but the flowers are very light, very light purple, unlike these ones that are darker. I don't know the names of any of these varieties because at the time I didn't care. I was just wanting lavender, so I was buying a bunch, whatever was available, and planting them, you know, one at a time, and so they're all different. These two I know are the same, but that one is different from these two, and then that one's different. Yeah, I have so many different varieties, but I don't know the name of any of them. It's pretty sad. Now this is one of my other elderberries. This is the Adams. The other one, the first small one I showed you was a John's, and it is getting lots of blooms, lots of flowers. So even if I don't get berries though, I do know the flowers are also very medicinal. So I'll be putting those to use if it looks like I'm not going to get any fruit. So there's there's my smallest woolly lambs there, and I did a lot of these I pruned way back because they kind of do tend to take over, sort of like the orange mint, which eventually I'm not going to worry about it this year. I did bring some of it back, and I'll probably do it again soon. But eventually I'm going to probably take it all out so I can make a better use of this area. But I love the look and the smell of the orange mint. I don't really use it. Every now and then I'll throw a little bit into my teas and stuff, but the look and the smell of it is beautiful. I'm not as crazy about the flavor as I thought I would be, but I still like growing it. And yep, there's one of the other potatoes. Seems to be doing great. And I said it before, potatoes actually do well with little sun. A lot of people think they need full sun. Nope, I've grown potatoes in full shade and got quite a harvest. All right, and then this is my third elderberry. I only have a total of 3 black elderberries. And yes, my husband was not real happy with me planting these so close to the house. So this year I'm going to have to really hack this back a lot once it's done fruiting, if it fruits. And then a random white rose that was given to me that I still have yet, but I'm just going to keep because it's pretty, even though it's pretty well hidden right now by the elderberry. It didn't used to be. Elderberry used to be much smaller than that. Okay, and then you might already seen there's my other sage. There is another feverfew. Here is my second, I only have 2 right now, yarrow plants this year. I used to have a bunch, but I really only need 1, 2 max to get all the yarrow I need off of there, and then still have plenty left over. I mean, I still have yarrow from like 3 years ago, dehydrated and put away. And I keep meaning to come out here and dehydrate this and, you know, cut it back and dehydrate a bunch, and I still haven't done it yet. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember. Oh, and I'll show you something. Right in there is another marshmallow that I cut the top off of, poor thing, hidden in there. And then there's another one here, right there, and there's another one right there, and 2 more potato plants. I know you guys are probably laughing at me thinking I'm crazy for doing this with the potatoes, but you know what? I'm all about experimentation, about finding what grows best where, and seeing what grows best next to what. You know, I mean, I understand I have to dig the potatoes up, so I'm making sure I'm not growing it right next to things I'm worried about digging up. Eventually I'll be digging up marshmallow roots, so I'm not worried about that. I'm not really that worried about the catnip if I end up having to dig into that, but it's far enough away I shouldn't have a problem. Or the oregano, because, well, I have tons of oregano. And this oregano back in here was one of the ones I made it from a start, from the bigger ones you saw over there. And then this is my second biggest goji berry that I currently have. One of the few that survived out of the 8 that I got last year. Doesn't look quite as healthy as the one back in the main garden, but it's not doing bad. I still have no idea. I'm not seeing flowers, so I'm guessing I still won't see fruit on it this year. Hopefully next. And then finally, if I didn't miss anything else, like I always seem to do, here is the rose bush that I use for making my floral vinegars. And again, I just got a batch going yesterday, so I made a video of that, and I'll have that coming out soon. There, you know, because there were more flowers up here, and in fact, I'll probably pick this one today. I like to, if I don't use them right away for vinegar, I either keep them in the fridge in a jar so they stay fresh, or I dehydrate them, and those are what I put in my soaps and my shampoo and those kind of things. So that is it. I know I probably built it up too much. It's probably not as exciting as you thought it might be by the way I talked about it, but I love this garden, and it does change and grow and look different throughout the season, and so I'll probably do an update later. Oh, and I am letting this catnip bloom as well. And let me just show you real quick here. You've seen this section already. This is that little south-facing, little narrow strip of herb garden I have going here, which I did add an ashwagandha start that I started from seed way down at the end that you didn't get to see in my other video. Not much to look at yet, but I'll do an update on that later on. All right, well, that's it for the Westside herb garden. More updates to come, not just on this garden, but on my main garden, my greenhouse, my deck garden, so be watching for those. And thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.